Thank you for checking out my channel. So this video is a Shin Megami Tensei overview. So I wanted to do a video explaining what my favorite demons were, what my favorite worlds were. Just a little bit about the game from my personal experience, what I would have chosen and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get right into it by saying that my favorite demon would have to be Alice. Yeah, Alice. Because when I made Alice, I didn't even trade her until like the very end of the game. Like Alice has stuck with me for like a good minute. Like her whole die for me thing that did like heavy damage twice or 3 or 4 times to like random foes is actually pretty good. But I would think it would be better, but more overpowered if if it would penetrate through resistances, which would be very overpowered because Alice's magic was the highest. And in fact, I think when the game ended, there's only been one other person who has surpassed Alice in magic. I think that was Vishnu, but but until the end of the game, it was Vishnu or Beelzebub. But out of all the demons that I've had, no one has surpassed Alice in terms of magic. Nobody. Alice's magic stat was it was 110. Or I think it was 113 or some shit like that. But it was fucking crazy. Even all the demons that I made, they had equal stats. Like they were the 99s, but Alice didn't know a lot of physical skills, but her magic was fucking insane. Right? So she's one of my favorites. She stuck with me through a long time. A lot of close runner-ups were, how can I say this? Beelzebub is a close runner-up. I'm forgetting his name, but he's the one that knows Hasu Tobi. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but I'll probably think of it soon. Vishnu actually is actually a really good persona, not persona, but demon because of how powerful he is in magic and his versatility and his resistances. Even though I had to give him most of his resistances. Also, that's another reason, I'm sorry to go back to Alice, but that's another reason why I like Alice so much. So I like Alice because I didn't really give her a lot of nullifications. Let me give you an example. Odin, I had to give Odin nullify dark, I think, nullify physical attack, nullify wind, nullify light, dark. I had to give him all these nullifications. And that took up a lot of space, but I didn't give any. I think I gave Alice like a resistance to physical attack, but I took out her light weakness, and that was about it. She was still a good person back then, but yeah, she doesn't have a lot of resistances, but that means she doesn't have a lot of weaknesses either. So yeah, and also just to let you know, I think Hasu Tobi, Yoshitsune. That's what it was. Yoshitsune is one of my other favorite demons in the game. Yoshitsune has been with me for like a good minute, but I had to trade him in for like a higher demon or persona or stand or whatever you want to call it. And Hasutobi is actually like a pretty good move. It's a move that I think it always does critical damage and it hits like 8 times. So you always get, and if you enhance his attack, it'll do a lot more damage. And if you give him a move that gives him MP with every critical hit, not every critical hit. If he gets a critical hit, it restores some MP. That's a really good thing because I think I just had strategy in mind when I was making his skill set. But other than the Nahabino, the other demons that I like, Zeus is a really good one. I never really wanted to make Vasuki. I don't know his name, but it's the one that was serving Lord Shiva, which I didn't actually get a chance around to fighting. Like Shiva himself was is a dude. He's like the hardest boss. He was like level 90, and Tindava ruined my defenses. Like that was that was insane. Like I couldn't keep doing that. Like he would have been a great demon to have and a strong runner-up. but I couldn't get him because it was just too hard to defeat. Plus, I would assume making him would be hard as well. Like, I think I would need Vasuki and a lot of other Hindu creations. But yeah, he would have been a close one. But yeah, because Tendava would have been a great addition to my pool, especially since what is it? It's not Satan. Lucifer's one of his attacks raised his defense to the absolute maximum. I could have just used Tendava to drop it to the absolute maximum. It would have been easy. So that's a thing I like. Now it's time to move on to one of the demons that I didn't really like. And this is only because I had a high expectation coming into the game. It's Ragda, because I thought Ragda would have the same type of resistances I would have, but I remembered that I strategically made it so that Ragda had a lot of nullifications and defenses when I played Persona 5 Royal. So I kind of went in expecting for him to have a lot of nullifications and resistances, and I was kind of sad that he didn't. What other ones? There wasn't any ones that I didn't like. Oh, it was that dragon that I had to face, like some god dragon that I had to get for. I don't know. It was like a gold dragon. I forgot his name. I think it was something Chinese, but I made him, and then I didn't really get the whole thing why he's so popular. But I kind of just got rid of him. I don't know. I should have made him probably earlier, but I don't know. And now to move on to like my favorite world that I liked. I really liked, and if we're talking about the aesthetic, I really liked because I hated the Demon's Kings. I hated all like the Demon King's castle, the Empyrean, all of those that were in like a closed off area. One of the things that I did like was actually the first world because it was much more easier and it kind of had a nostalgic feeling to it. But I also like the last world too because the last world was good for leveling up. I got to fight a lot of the demons that I saw everywhere. And yeah, that world was just like it was the opposite of the first world, Minato, because, you know, Minato was kind of like a nostalgic world to whereas the last world that I was in, not the Empyrean, the one before that, Taito, I think, it was one that I spent most of my time where I wanted to like level up and to fuse other demons. So yeah, and I also got used to making like demon fusions, raising up demons' level so the fusion of the demon could be more powerful. That's how Beelzebub got to be so powerful because I just raised the level of all his fusion materials up so he can be at a higher level. So I really like that. I also like Odaiba when in the Minato region. Odaiba was when I would just be able to find a lot of those little teardrops, those colorful teardrops. I tried to find the gray one because the gray one would drop gospels, and gospels are like rare. If you play Pokemon, gospels are like rare candies to the Nahabino. But I think my favorite element in the game would have to be dark. Yeah, my favorite element in the game has to be dark, and it mainly includes Alice because Alice was a dark user. Beelzebub was a dark user. I got used to using Profound Land, which was a dark move that if the Nahabino was stronger, it would always inflict poison. So I really like that. What else did I like? I actually really like the game in general. I never really played a Shin Megami Tensei game, but I was able to get used to it quickly because it was an Atlas game, and I've already played Persona 5 Royal, and I'm currently playing Persona 5 Strikers. So yeah, I might get another Shin Megami Tensei game if it comes out. I haven't played any of the ones before, but I'm probably going to end up getting the Persona 3 Reload when it comes out. If it comes out, I don't know if it's out yet. I may have to check that. But as of today, it's not really. I don't know if it's out as of today. I might need to check. But yeah, I'm gonna probably end up getting that. But to go back to the Shin Megami Tensei content, I really did like all the final fusions, like Zeus, the angels, like not talking about Michael, Uriel, and all those things. I'm talking about like Metatron, Sandifon, those angels, because they are really good at using almighty skills. Like, I swear, if it's like when I got those, I felt like I couldn't lose because I made them almost invulnerable to everything. Like physical attacks, they were invulnerable to, electricity, dark, light, all those they had were like resistance to. So I felt like I couldn't be touched. However, I had to make sure that I left room for skills, and those actually filled up some skill slots. So when I actually wanted to get more skills, I had to choose between almighty skills. Like they weren't really as varied as they could have been because I was clogging up the like half of the roster of their moves with nullifications, like null electric, null wind, null dark, null light. I wanted to make sure that they had the perfect nullifications so I can get more turns. I also liked the that mission where you had to beat Maria, the Mother Maria, after you complete 75% of the fusions. But my favorite, I think it was the last one that I made. Like she used Raging Fire, Raging Tempest, and all of those things. I liked her. Hers was actually pretty good because she basically knew everything, and not everything, but she knew all like the 4 main elemental attacks. So she also knew a lot of other skills, and I just made her invulnerable to some skills because all I really need is the 4 raging, like Raging Fire, Raging Tempest, Raging Ice, and all those things. And then basically just one of support skill, and the rest can be nullifications and blocks and absorbs. But I don't really think I can equip anybody with an absorb because that's fucking crazy. Like equipping somebody with an absorb basically just ends their turn. I think absorb ends the turn. Reflect takes off 3. Block takes off 2. And just hitting takes off 1, I think. But yeah, Alice is my favorite. Ragda in this game was my least favorite. And if I were to give the game like a rating, I would say it's about a good, out of 5, I would give it like a 4.2. I mean, the game was really addicting in terms of grinding, but I think the grinding in the game was very slow because I felt like I couldn't just go to an area, fight, and then level up the Nahabino because I felt like I had to fight off like 200 monsters just for the Nahabino's level to go up. So the grinding was fucking excruciating. That's why I had to keep finding those gray Minmans, whatever they're called, Mitmans, Mitamas or whatever, to raise the Nahabino's level by 1. And I found out where they spawned, so it was much more easier to raise the level up. But yeah, the grinding was fucking insane. Now, this part is over. Like all my likes and dislikes. Now I'm gonna get into like more story-based stuff. Like for instance, the last part of the video game where I had to choose which one I would do. Now I was out of 3 endings, but there's a secret ending that I'm going to mention. So the first one was to keep God's order, if you remember. The second one was to put Tsukuyomi in charge and have all the gods rule the heavens. The third would be to destroy the throne so that nobody can get the power, which that's the one I chose, and I'll tell you why later. Then the secret one that I found out about is to use the throne to destroy all gods and demons. Now, I would have chosen to destroy all gods and demons. However, when I used the throne to take out when I destroyed the throne, I thought, okay, the devil or Lucifer can't use the throne. However, I destroyed the throne so no one can use it. I was basically serving Lucifer because apparently destroying the throne means that no one can oppose Lucifer. and then demons were still able to like fight off humans. I didn't know that. I thought destroying the throne meant destroying everybody. Like no one can use the throne anymore. But that's what I would have chosen because I really don't think that if something that big is causing this much of a problem, it needs to be destroyed. Now, for the game, right? It seems like the best ending to have, in my opinion, was Tsukuyomi's because it says that everyone was able to rule, but the only downside to it was that if humans didn't believe in gods, they were lost. But basically, gods lived in everything. There was a myriad of gods everywhere. Like, if you thought Shiva was the true god, you were right. If you thought Zeus was the true god, you were also right. There were a lot of gods everywhere, and so you can go into any pantheon you want to. But it was just people were getting lost. People felt like they had to choose one. But I think that was like the best ending because everyone can rule and there will be no one person in charge. And everyone had a chance to rule their own pantheon. So everyone was basically the supreme leader. Because I thought Tsukuyomi meant that he wanted the Japanese gods to be in charge, not just like all the gods like I think it intended, right? So, but the one that I didn't like is under God's order. And I'm sorry for the people who are, in fact, Christian. But, and I'm sorry to get religious, but I personally don't think one person should rule over everybody because it prevents people's will to think. But that's just in terms of the game. Like for me, I'm not really religious, but I think that one person shouldn't be over everyone else deciding what they should do at certain times. So I feel like people should be able to choose for themselves and things like that. Because if one person rules over everybody, like we do in this country, or in America, which I live in, one person rules over the country, and if they decide what people do, and if they're the ones that are right, then it causes some problems because people might not want to follow that. But then in terms of a god, you have to follow their rules. Like God's word would be absolute at that point. So I like the whole myriad of gods things that gods can exist in everywhere, every which way. But I would have also picked destroying all gods and demons and just let humans just be humans. But I do like how putting it under God's order had somewhat of a happy ending. You're basically saving Tokyo. You're remaking Tokyo, but nobody would had noticed that the old Tokyo was destroyed, and then there had been a new Tokyo just remade. But the only bad side, it was a copy of an original miracle. But so what? At least Tokyo is saved, and no one knows that. Like no one even knows if there is an old or a new Tokyo. No one even cares if they don't even remember. So I do like Shin Megami Tensei. That's the one I would have picked. I would have picked just to let all the humans fend for themselves, but I ended up choosing first to destroy the throne because I thought that would fix everything, but it didn't. It was just helping Lucifer. That's why I didn't fight him at the end of the story. But yeah, I fought him. He was actually pretty easy when when the Nahabino's levels like all the way up like that. So yeah. So I think if I were to play what is it, Shin Megami Tensei 6, when it comes out, I would probably get it. I'll probably give it some sort of a chance. But I'll wait till it comes out whenever it comes out. Probably will come out like what? Like next year? Next 2 years? Because I don't know when this game had come out. I got it some Christmases ago, actually. I think so. Someone gave it to me. It was like, it wasn't this Christmas. Was it last Christmas? No. No, it was a Christmas ago. Wasn't last Christmas. It was a Christmas before that. So I had this game for a minute. and now I'm done because I was taking so many breaks from it because of like the whole grind from it. Like I thought I wasn't gonna finish it because some of the bosses were so fucking hard, and I ended up beating it on hard mode, which I felt like if I put it on easy mode, it would be too easy. So I did like the game. It was pretty challenging. However, if a game becomes too challenging where I feel like I can't complete it, I'm just gonna give up and just move on because I'm not, I want to feel like I can complete the game, not that it's like that hard, right? So I do like the game. Give it a 4.2 and all that's good, all that jazz. But I wish in the demons they had all of like the other personas, right? Like from Persona 5, I wish they actually had like Arsene. They had all the other ones like Ryuji Stan, Morgana Stan, On Stan, fucking like everybody. I wish they could have made like an appearance because I would have picked them. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. It's going to be pretty short. It's not as long as the other Persona video, but it's because Persona was like more fleshed out because I've been playing it for like the longest time and I enjoyed it. But yeah, I like it because in Persona I had a lot more to talk about because there was like relationships and I could talk about all that stuff. But in short, I like the game and I think it's very fun. It's very entertaining. The grinding is kind of long and excruciating, but nevertheless, the game was good. So those are my thoughts about the game. Let me know what you think in the comments. So please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video that I make.